So today I want to go ahead and bust out a new Max for Live device that I was messing with, an idea I had a while ago, and I finally worked up the steam and had some free time to finish off this new slip and slider. There's an audio and MIDI version, so you can drop it right next to the areas that you want to use it in. So let's bust out the MIDI one. And I'll do a quick explanation as best I can of what this slip and slider, for lack of a better name, does. So you've got 8 mapping sections, pretty obvious. As you move this manual knob, you will notice these number boxes here. It will sort of pick a random one, and as you move the slider up, goes to 0 on one of them, and then up to 100% on the next one. And then as it hits 0%, it picks a new mapping to choose. So as the next one. So you'll see here, if you watch down in the number slider, that it doesn't ever repeat the same one. So why on earth would you need something like this? And I know this isn't a device that's probably for everyone. So it would be like if you had a rack and you had a bunch of chains in the rack of different effects, and you wanted to have it randomly fade in and out different effects chains. So that's one instance. If you had a bunch of tracks, you could map this to a bunch of different tracks. Each track could be producing a different ambient tone or texture, and you could have this just fading in and out random ones. There's also an auto section here. So if I turn this on and I adjust the BPM up a little bit, you can see it cycles through the different ones. You can kind of watch it go that way. Again, this number here, it's 8 total, but this number here lets you sort of scale that down if you only want to use 4. If you leave it on 8 and you only map to the first 2 or 3, then you're going to have a lot of times where those first 2 or 3 that you've mapped are just setting at 0. So another use case could be here, like on the operator, if you wanted to have the different A, B through D fading in and out. So I made a few racks here that use this device that give some examples, and I highly recommend opening these up. And if looking under the hood, it's a little crazy. So you can use the MIDI one to do different types of things with MIDI manipulators. So right here I'm using the note generator, and I've got this randomizer. I think it may be affecting this next note generator over. I mean, to be honest, when I build these things and I go back a few days later, I'm not even sure what's exactly going on unless I sit there and really study it. And I wish that you could right click on one of these mappings and just like jump to the thing that you've mapped it to, so you could really like know where it's, because the mappings get really, really squirrely and matrixy after a while. So that's one of the downfalls, I feel like, of this whole mapping paradigm. So let's see. Maybe it was Noisemaker E that uses this new device. So what I can do is I can just get a bunch of these going here. And see. These are pretty hefty under the hood, so they take a little while to load. What I'm going to do is I'm going to map to these different tracks here. You'll see it auto sort of fading in and out. And I need to set this to 4 if we always want one of the tracks to be on. Otherwise, when it's cycling through 5 through 8, we're going to have these all off, which could be useful for like an installation or something where you just need to sort of set it and forget it. This is kind of a useful device. Also fun for like, let's see, this is a better example. As I'm building these devices, I have to create a lot of different test cases. So a lot of these racks come from that. So Hopefully I'll have more racks down the road as I'm testing out these devices a lot more. But for these racks here, all you need to do is make sure you have this M4L directory inside of your project folder and the proper devices there. Otherwise, you drag these racks in, it may complain about missing Max for Live devices. So here is something that I think is really useful for this kind of a like fade up and down at random different chains for the slip and slider. Essentially, I've got this crazy looking rack here, and inside of each one of these chains, we've got different array of effects, and I've got the first section, I've got this volume. It's basically just like an empty rack where I'm just using the chain volume. So I've got this linked to the slip and slider. So at random, it's going to fade in the volume going into the effect. So that way we still get the effects tails for whatever is coming into this. And I went ahead and made an empty called the X8 container, and this basically just doesn't have any effects in it. It has the volume thing, so all you got to do is put in a bunch of effects after these volume racks here, and just drop the slip and slider. This is the audio version since we're working in the audio channel at this point. You can just map here. I'll go ahead and turn the audio on. And you can see it doing its thing. Go ahead and turn this on. And obviously, salt to taste. Put whatever effects you want inside there. You can get really crazy. This could also work for instruments as well. You could put the MIDI version next to that, so you could have notes coming in, and the different instrument timbres would fade up and down with this type of effect here. So right now we've got these moments of silence, which could be interesting for a lot of cases. One thing we could do is we could copy this volume, this empty rack, and we could actually put it, let's see, we could put it maybe after this grain delay effect here. Let me go ahead and hit paste there, and I'm going to drag this here. And instead of mapping to the output channel there, so let's go ahead and kill that. I'm going to map to this. Again, coming back to this kind of project like weeks later, it may be kind of annoying to try to figure out what's mapped to what. That's something that, you might have to write down notes, or I don't know. It's one thing I'm not super a fan of with Ableton mapping again. So this way, we've got the volume here. So we still got the effects tails from this grain delay. So I like that more because you've got a little bit more overlap between the tracks. And let's do the same with this one. Go ahead and kill the mapping here. And click on that. Or actually, that one's already mapped. So let's do this one. And we need to turn this one back up. So again, this is a bit of a weird one, this device, and not probably useful for everyone. I'm going to try to have more of these types of racks where you can just drag them in and like you don't even have to push play, which is ideal in a way for like an installation if you just want to have the computer boot up with like a batch script where it just loads up your ALS project, in say like a museum or art gallery every morning. This is a kind of an ideal use case for things like the note generator, just sending MIDI notes and things happening very generatively, kind of off the grid, if you will, off the transport. So let's pull this in and map to that. There we go. And same with this one. And I think this way we get a lot more of a smooth transition. And actually this one I'll leave as is so that the track volume is controlling it. Again, with this auto on, it's a bit just kind of like a triangle wave LFO, real basic, but in this case here, I think it's useful. Like say, for example, I've got it, like I explained earlier, on A through D, and it's just sort of fading them up quickly. This one here. And so we get like different timbres, like for example, this D is set to saw, let's see, this saw D here. This one's set to try. So you can kind of get some ideas this way of how this type of effect could be useful for generating a lot of different timbres and strange, I guess sort of ambient droney kind of soundscapes. So we'll use it a lot more down the road, but I hope you enjoy it for now. If nothing else, use these racks, explore them, tweak them, adjust them to your needs, use them in your own projects, have fun, be inspired. All right, Happy New Year, everyone.